Here we go.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Welcome to the Downtown Dawgs. My name is Jimmy Rodgers. Our guest today has been accused of being the best athlete to ever don the purple and gold. He's a recent Tacoma Hall of Fame inductee. Welcome to the heart of Seattle, Aaron Leon Williams,
Thank you.
a.k.a. U-Dub.
U-Dub.
How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Good,
Doing
you
real
look great. How old
Thank
are
you. How old am I? I'm 64.
64, a young 64. Any replacements, hips, knees?
No knees. The right hip has been replaced.
It has been. How long ago?
3 years ago.
Wasn't that a great surgery?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. It was.
Pain
The
before,
pain was. Yeah. I
immediately-
waited way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I really did. I was bone on bone, no cartilage, no nothing. It was.
And so
Yeah.
immediately, within days, I felt relieved.
Oh yeah.
Now, Aaron, you played in 44 games as a Husky. Did you miss a game?
Did I miss a
Played-
game?
you
No, I played it.
every,
Yeah.
from your freshman year.
Yes, I did.
85 catches, over 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns. Every game, I imagine Don James was trying to find ways to get you the ball.
I wouldn't say that. It was, we were a running team. And with myself, Paul, and Anthony, it was whoever was open.
So just to let our audience know, back then in the 80s, if we threw 20 times a game,
that was remarkable.
Yeah. And
that was remarkable.
Nowadays they're in the 40s.
Exactly.
Sometimes
yeah.
50s.
Right.
You started in 22 of the games, 13 touchdowns.
If you say so.
You never paid attention to your stats.
Never. No, not at all. After the games, Anthony would come up to me and would be like, I only had 3 targets, or I only had 4 targets, and I was like, okay, sure, whatever,
Didn't matter.
Didn't matter. We were just out there playing.
Did you have a good time at the Hall of Fame induction?
Yeah.
Did you speak?
Yeah. I did speak. One of the few times I spoke. But yeah, that was pretty cool because Tacoma was where everything started. And the history of being a Tacoma athlete, all the athletes that had come out of Tacoma, it was an honor.
Now, you were one of the reasons that I chose the University of Washington. You didn't know this. And
Really?
you were also one of the reasons I almost didn't choose the University of Washington. So when I came up as a 17-year-old for my official visit, Skip Hall and I were walking from the Tubby Gray's building to the locker room. And there were a bunch of footballers playing pickup ball at the end court there.
Right, yeah.
And I was acting like I didn't care and like I wasn't watching, but out of the corner of my eye, I was watching you guys, and I saw this cat do a 2-foot takeoff alley-oop dunk, and it was you. And I thought, there's no way, I can't play with these guys. 2-foot takeoff. You might want to enhance everybody on what a 2-foot takeoff is.
Well, you run, and most people like a long jump. You hit the board and take off on 1 foot, but you just gather yourself 2 feet and you go up. Hit the ground.
Much more difficult.
It is, but playing basketball was something that I loved doing, and I played to see how high I could jump. That was because I wasn't very good, but I was athletic.
Okay.
And coming from a track background where I was a jumper, high jumper, long jumper, triple jump, it was different on the basketball court because you could jump over people and stuff like that. And I was always amazed at, trying to go as high as I could.
So was track your number 1 sport?
Yes.
It was.
I love football, but I had all my accolades came from track.
Do you hold any records
I-
that stand to this day?
That stand to this day, no.
So they
I was
finally,
a.
they finally
It finally
yeah.
got me. Yeah, I held the all-time triple jump record for the state for 22 years. I was the first prep athlete in the state to jump 50 feet in the triple jump. That's now currently held by my son, which was
That's a great
just
story.
totally awesome. You know, he did it, and I was like, the record's back in the family. You know, so
Right.
but. That was incredible. That was incredible watching them do that.
So you were born in Tacoma. Your family, your parents were also born in Tacoma.
I was actually born in Germany.
Wow.
I'm an Army brat.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm an Army brat, born in Germany, Stuttgart, Germany. Pops was stationed in Fort Lewis at the age of 5. So I did, or 6. I did first grade on base, and then we moved to Tacoma
Interesting.
after that.
Interesting. I had no idea. So your parents were born.
My dad's from Alabama,
Okay.
Butler, Alabama, one of 13 siblings, and my mom was born in New Jersey.
Okay. And your father, after the military, what did he do for a living?
My dad ended up working on fort, on fort in the mess hall, and my mom was a teacher's aide in Tacoma's public school system.
And you have a sister I'm aware of.
I have 2 sisters
You have
and
two
a brother.
sisters. And what are their names?
Arvella,
Not shy.
Arvella Roberts, married to Al Roberts,
Okay.
who coached at the University of Washington and running back coach, and my little sister Anita.
Okay. Okay. Your last time on the field was probably when Kaysen was recognized
Yes,
as a Husky legend.
Husky legend. Yes, that was the last time.
So the entire family joined him.
That was an awesome event.
That was a special. So a nice finish. But then I go right back to maybe not as nice a finish as you would have liked at the University of Washington, because I always felt like you should have been a first or second round draft choice, and you went in the 11th round.
In the 11th round.
I always wondered how you felt about that, because we pretty much left. I left Seattle. We didn't see each other for a long time. I didn't know why the 11th round versus the higher round.
Well, that was all my fault. I did not progress the way I should have my last couple of years at the U. I wasn't getting better, you know, and that was because I didn't work at my craft like Paul and Anthony did, because they really overtook me, you know, and they kept getting better and I stayed the same just because I wasn't working at the craft like they did. I wasn't getting any bigger, stronger. Speed kind of fluctuated because I wasn't working out like I should have, and that's basically what happened to me. It was more on me than anything else.
So if you would have went to a different school, like a University of Oregon, for example, your 85 receptions and your 1,300 yards might have turned into, 200 receptions, might have turned into 2,000 yards.
Maybe, but that
you wouldn't have gone to a bowl game.
Oregon, right? Yeah, that's Oregon.
And by the way, Aaron's average catch was 16.9 yards per catch. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know what the record is, but
I don't either. But then too, I didn't pay attention to any of that.
now the competition was very steep, as you alluded to earlier. So you had from Anthony, Paul Scanzi, Danny Green came on, all high draft picks.
Right.
Danny in the second. Then don't forget you got Ostransky. You You've got the tight ends from David Bale to Deronnie Wheeler to Lance Neibauer. A lot of good receivers out there.
Yes. And only one ball.
But then again, if you were to go somewhere else, no bowl games. And like you said earlier. So you had a quote in the daily paper back in '82, the UW paper. And it was something to the effect of you weren't there to get your education as much as you were to go to the NFL. Do you recall that? And that's a loose quote. I'm not exactly sure what the quote was. So this was an honest comment straight from your heart. You were way ahead of the times. Because
I was full of myself.
Well, is that right? What'd you say?
I was full of myself.
You were, okay. But still, at the same time, now the University of Washington and NCAA football has become nothing but a portal for the NFL. And you said what most of us were thinking.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I went to the UW because I wanted to get that education.
I was not a scholar. I was growing up. I drifted a lot in school. I'd rather be outside, looking outside, and school was vague to me. It was a place to go and see your friends, interact with your friends. But as far as learning, that's later.
I think I understand. Growing up, were you what we might call free-ranged? I mean, it was like you were out the door at 8 and you had to be home at 5.
Right.
And it was always ball. You were always playing ball.
Always.
Classroom was fun and everything, but it wasn't ball.
It wasn't ball. Yeah. Right.
So I do understand where you're coming from there. So if you were to play in this decade, in this day and age, I'm putting a number on you coming out of high school, maybe $500,000 from the NFL. What do you think? 250, $500,000? The kid from Michigan, the kid transferred from LSU to Michigan, got 10.5. Quarterback, 18 years old.
Right. Yeah, I would assume something like that. The average price for an incoming freshman.
So with that in mind, let's say you got $500,000. You're 18 years old. You're in Seattle, close enough to home for your parents and your family to see you play, but far enough away to have a social life. How do you think you would have?
I wouldn't have done well.
No,
I wouldn't have done well. I had no concept of money and savings or anything like that. I know I probably would have helped out my mom and dad at home, but I would have been a party animal, to be totally honest. Nightclubs and dance, because disco was big back then, and everybody had to be seen at the nightclubs and whatnot. So it wouldn't have been good.
I understand. So I think these kids, what I'm seeing more recently is they're maturing. Because
you have to.
If they screw up, that's $500,000 out the door, right? If USC were to offer you a track scholarship, would you have taken it back then?
No, I would not have. Actually, SC, UCLA were off the board as far as track went. I was not interested in going to LA to train because of the smog and being a track athlete. I didn't want to be out running, doing miles, road work, and breathing in the smog. My goal coming out of high school was either go to Arizona State and be a track athlete down there, but Frank Cush was the coach, football coach down there.
Okay.
And I was very much interested in playing football and running track. And I wanted to go to Arizona State, but Frank Cush scared me away.
Is that right?
He was too much of a disciplinarian and a madman. So that, because Arizona State was really, really hard on me and the track program, and they talked to Mr. Cush, and he was willing to give me a football scholarship, but I was like, I can't do that. Plus, it was kind of far away.
So many people on the show, I've asked them who the best athlete is that played football for the University of Washington, and so many of them have said you.
Really?
Yeah, pound for pound, hands down.
No
You were
kidding.
6', 176, I think you played at.
176?
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Where were you?
I stayed about 170.
170. So light as, yeah. So
Yeah, I was pretty light.
Pound for pound, hands down.
Okay.
But if you throw in pool, darts, skeet, bowling, horseshoes, it's got to go to Dave Stransky.
I would think so. I would think so.
So speaking of Stransky and the other receivers, you got a guy from Cedar-Woolley, Garfield, Gig Harbor, Hawaii, different cultures, different upbringings. Did you ever experience any racism amongst your fellow receivers?
No, not at all.
Any teammates?
To be totally honest,
Please.
no, I don't recall any. But I was always the quiet one. Some people would say I was shy, but I was always in the background. I didn't like the attention, and that was probably one of the reasons why that I didn't really excel, because the attention, I don't like it. Interviews, I didn't like doing interviews. What I'm doing right now
It's a stretch.
is a stretch.
Right.
It's a stretch. Because Anthony told me that he had did the interview and he may have passed on my number, and I was like, no, you didn't. And he's like, well, Jimmy might call you. And I was like, no, you didn't. And he's like, and then next thing you know, Jimmy's calling. And I'm like,
Well, thank you.
thanks, Anthony. I went up to him the next day and I was like, Jimmy called me. And he's like, he just grinned. I'm like, I walked away. I'm like, thanks, Sam. Jeez.
Do you remember that catch, your first catch in the Rose Bowl that they called back?
Yes. Yes,
So-
David Bell, he threw the ball to David Bell and the defensive back knocked it away and I rebounded.
So the defensive back tipped it.
Yeah.
So it's a legal catch.
Yeah.
And they called it back.
Because
They said Bale tipped
Bell
it.
touched it.
So an offensive player cannot tip it to another offensive player.
Exactly. Right.
So there were a couple calls in that Rose Bowl that went against us early,
Right.
and then it just all went
It
downhill.
went downhill. Yeah, we couldn't recover.
Can you speak to the catch at Arizona State?
I love it. Was it a checkoff? It was. It was. He called at the line of scrimmage, checked it off, and I was like, "Cool. I hope he throws it to me," and he did. And I can't get there, and I just took off. I laid out it stuck. I couldn't believe it. It stuck.
Do you remember what yard line you launched from?
Well, I've seen the video. I don't know how many times.
So what yard line did you say?
I took off from the 5.
You caught,
And-
you caught it in the back of the end zone, or
No, I caught
middle?
it just on the other side of the goal line. So
Okay. So about 6-7 yards. 3 feet, 21
Right.
feet.
something like that. It was a long jump. It was a long jump. My better long jump.
So when your career was over, did you know that the last time that you were on a football field, did you know that was going to be your last time?
No, I did not. I did not. I thought that I would have another chance, but it didn't happen. I thought I'd get another chance. The light bulb would go off, and I'd figure this out. And it never came again.
How'd you adapt?
Actually, Rhonda had graduated and was in training for a job, and she was transferred down to California. So I just went down to California, got a job, started working head down, and it really didn't hit me for at least 6, 7 years afterwards. And that's when I realized that, I really wanted to do that. And I'm not going to have an opportunity. And not that I got depressed, but, you find other things to fill that void. And
So you have a son who's just a phenomenal football player.
yeah, he did turn out to be pretty
Sure
good.
did. Did you ever secretly in the back of your mind feel like you were getting redemption with him doing his thing, or were you over it?
I was over it.
You were.
I was over it. And I was thrilled to death that both of my kids, end up being athletes. It was.
You said earlier your daughter is on a soccer scholarship. Where is she?
She was at ASU.
So she's at ASU.
Yeah, she was my oldest. And both she and Kaysen were, early on. That was a neighborhood thing, to get the kids involved in any and everything. And she picked up soccer, and she wanted to do everything. She wanted to do everything: soccer, basketball, softball, you name it. She was into it. So yeah, she ended up on a soccer scholarship at ASU, which was they both took us on a fantastic athletic ride, watching them with select soccer. Kaysen played at Seattle Rotary for basketball, and then of course high school. She won a state title in soccer, and of course he was 4 years at state championship game football wise, and then track. He was a dominant track athlete also. Actually, they both were, because she ran track too. So it was awesome ride.
What was your fastest 40?
Fastest 40. They told me I ran a 4.3. I never checked with the coaches after I ran, but they said I ran a 4.3. But then Dennis Brown and Sterling Hines and all of them,
Olympics.
Yeah, right. 4.2 Dennis Brown.
You didn't play in 44 games.
No.
Yards. What if you had to tell a youngster right now that had to run a 40 next week, what would you tell them the key to the 40 is?
Start.
Turf or grass?
Turf.
First time out of the tunnel?
Recruiting trip. Incredible. So they turned off the lights, and I was like, what's going on? What's going on?
You weren't a Husky yet?
No, Now, the first time as a Husky?
No, just first time. Go with that story.
Yeah, that was...
Turn the lights off?
Yeah, they turned the lights off, and I had no idea what was going on. And then heard the barking. Oh, man, that just shivers.
The players were barking.
Yeah.
And what game was that? Do you remember the opposing team?
No, I don't.
Doesn't matter.
It was
the other team would get in the tunnle, and they had maybe 60 because they were traveling. We had 160,000. We'd pack it in behind them.
Right.
Bark like rabid dogs.
Barking like crazy.
And sometimes the game was over in the tunnel.
Yeah, right. Because it was one of those teams. It was one of those teams that, first 3 games of the season. So it was
Northwestern,
right?
Eastern Washington.
Exactly. That was incredible.
Definitely a home field advantage.